Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
And ish.
You already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on our Facebook page, please make sure you go ahead and hit that like button on our Facebook page. And as well, if you are on YouTube and you're checking out this show, please make sure you go ahead and hit the red subscribe button if you're not subscribed just yet. And also go ahead and hit the notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future.
Ding.
Thank you for that addition as well. If you are on Twitter, go ahead and check us out at our Twitter page at X Talking Ish. And as well, we are streaming on my personal page at X underscore Williams 81. And if you listen to our past shows, usually I would tell y'all that I've retweeted. Yeah, I want to make sure I said that right on my personal page, but we are now streaming on my personal page on Periscope. So we are streaming on more channels these upcoming episodes because we want to make sure that we get out some good content to y'all. We want to make sure that we keep y'all informed of what's going on in the NFL, and of course, another week in the NFL in the off season presents us with some more topics to talk about. But before, of course, we get into the topics at hand, if you didn't check us out last week, please make sure you go ahead and check out last week's show so y'all can, of course, get a first-hand point of view of what's going on in training camp through an NFL's player's eyes with Mr. Elandon Roberts, and also to, of course, help out X Talking Ish and get some views of it. Duh, of course, you got to help out both parties. You get to hear what's really going on in the NFL. You also get to help out your boys get some views up. So with that being said, if you want to hear a little something from last week from Elandon Roberts, we appreciate y'all for that listening in last week, and also for the viewers that haven't tuned in, please go ahead and make sure you tune into that. Ish, how have you been this past week? Everything good with you?
I mean, whole house been down, hit with sickness and all, but we trying to make it. We trying to recover. So hopefully that'll get better. But a lot of news been coming out, a lot of stirrings and rumblings in the NFL happening. People reporting for camp. We're starting to get underway. So, it's about that time.
Stirrings and rumblings are all around in the NFL, as Ish will call it. Speaking of stirring and rumblings, a quarterback in the NFL made a rumbling with his appearance into training camp, and wouldn't be his first time making a hell of an appearance into training camp. And that's Mr. Aaron Rodgers, but of course he wasn't the only one. We'll get into the other guys shortly, but let's go ahead and stick to the topic at hand. And Mr. Aaron Rodgers went ahead and showed up dressed up kind of like Mr. Nicolas Cage from the movie Con Air. If you haven't watched Con Air, I definitely suggest y'all check that out. It's a great movie with other Hall of Fame worthy actors in that movie as well. Um, and I don't know if y'all have seen it. I'm going to show the picture shortly, but I don't know if you've seen the movie, but when I first saw the video, I didn't even have to see the caption that it was Con Air. I was just like, man, why?
Oh yeah, I mean it was very
like, what's going on here? Like,
it wasn't hard to recognize.
Yeah, this is very uncanny resemblance right here.
Yeah.
But Ish, though, what do you think sparked um, the mindset of Aaron Rodgers to say, I want to go in and I want to go into camp dressed as an inmate?
I, to be honest, I have no idea. I don't know. I think at this point, Aaron Rodgers is bored. He really just looking for reasons to have people talking about him, and so he decided to dress. I mean, I saw the video at first, and then I saw the pictures coming out, and I was just confused, I guess is the best way to say it. At why this is what my man chose to come into camp like. But hey, everybody has to decide, what way do you want to start the season off? What way do you want to come in and I guess set the tone and he's setting that tone, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just piggyback off of you, like you said, with setting the tone. I guess he's the leader of some badass inmates that are trying to escape the shackles of the NFC Championship game, I guess, and try and get to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. I guess that's the only way I can tie this into football when it comes to like, hey, maybe this might help me get over the hump. I love me some Aaron Rodgers. I love me some regular season stats, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be consistent in what I always say. We're not just Tennessee Titans, not just with players that I like that are in the NFL, and players that I try to say, oh, they're not that good. Well, hey, at the end of the day, their playoff success trumps what you say. So, with that being said, Aaron Rodgers, you have to continue to keep on building your legacy and get a little more successful in the postseason. Don't get me wrong. We can always chalk it up and say, hey, it was the defense fault this game, it was special teams fault this game. But sooner or later, then when history is closed and on this Aaron Rodgers book in Green Bay, they're just going to show at the moment just one Super Bowl victory, and that's just not a good look when you've been a hell of a football player from at least 2012 and until now for a minimum at least 10 years so far. It's kind of hard. Or let me go back, maybe about 2000 and now 09, I'm sorry, 2009, 2010. But my point is that with Aaron Rodgers, how many chances will he get, Ish? How many more chances will he get to be able to even try to hoist the Lombardi Trophy, Ish?
I mean, the good thing that he's got going for him is that he's in that division, the NFC North right now. I mean, you look at Detroit. Detroit's still a long way off from competing. Chicago, it depends on the development of Justin Fields and where they're at. That defense is actually, like we've said, I think for the past 2 seasons, they're getting a lot older and they're kind of on the way down. They're not really the dominant defense that they were before. They got rid of Khalil Mack already. So, you got to think Chicago still got a long way to go to compete for that division. And then Minnesota, there have been rumblings now for a couple of years about Kirk Cousins and whether or not Kirk Cousins is done in Minnesota and whether they're ready to move on and start the rebuilding process. So you got to think if you're an Aaron Rodgers fan, you're a Green Bay fan, they're set up pretty good in the NFC North to continue to compete for that division for a number of years to come. If not, set themselves up to compete for the number 1 seed coming out of the NFC for a number of seasons to come. Because when you're playing these teams twice a year, it's almost a given that you're going to come out of that division maybe only losing 1 or 2 games. I don't even really know. I think Minnesota has a shot at upsetting them here and there, but the other 2 teams, let's be honest, those are two games. That's 4 games free right there every season. So I don't know very many other teams that play in divisions where they have 4 games pretty much given to them for free.
Well, it used to be the Patriots when they were in the AFC.
Well, it was the Patriots for a while, but I mean now
it was the Colts at one point in time in the AFC South. But yeah.
You're looking at Green Bay and you're saying, hey, they've really got a shot to keep doing this for another couple of years. Now, the problem that they're going to have is outside of their division, things are only getting a lot tougher. You look at the NFC West, you look at, Matt Stafford with the Rams. Are they going to be able to run it back? How many years is Matt Stafford going to stay there? And are they going to, continue putting teams together? They've got the defense to keep going every year. You look at Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. They're no walk in the park. I'm assuming this is the last year for Tom Brady. Who knows? He's the only person that doesn't want to retire and go home to a supermodel wife for some reason. And then I was going to say something about the Cowboys, but we're going to leave the Cowboys alone.
We're going to leave them alone for now? Just for now?
They're the Cowboys. You already
Any other time you want to fire them up?
No, we're going to leave them alone. But, Cowboys don't got much longer because if my boy Danny Dimes get the support he needs.
And if it was a fifth, we would all be drunk, everyone. All right, let's go ahead and get to the picture I wanted to show you about Mr. Aaron Rodgers being compared to Nicolas Cage. And like we talked about before, hey, I mean, it's I mean, look,
It's pretty spot on.
They look like cousins. They can be
Yeah.
cousins if they wanted to. The only problem I do have though with this picture is, hey, Rod, why you letting Nicolas Cage show you up when it comes to the bicep, territory? I mean, you the NFL quarterback, A Rod. You the one that's supposed to be out here with the Suns out, guns out. You got Nicolas Cage out here making you look like the actor. Any comment on that one, Ish?
No? I mean, I'm just gonna leave it.
I'm just saying, come on, you're right. I need you to get back in the gym, playboy. But hey, if it works, you still out here throwing 30 touchdowns, 4 picks. Hey, if it works,
we just talked about that division. He don't need it. He does not need to do any working out.
I didn't know if he was going to have the AR-12 method or something like that. I didn't know what else coming out. All right, other players showing up to training camp in style. Another guy, I'll just show you the picture right quick. Our boy Russ.
Okay.
Russ Wilson out here showing up to Bronco country, with the big body. I don't know about you, Ish, but I mean, hey, if you're going into camp, as the new face of the franchise, this is one way to do
it. I mean, yeah. It's definitely a way to show up. Like we said with Aaron setting the tone. We'll see. There's a lot of expectations on Russ' shoulders this season, so I'm gonna need him to follow up. Arriving to camp looking mean in that truck. He's gonna have to do that on the field as well.
So do you expect Russ to be cooking out here?
I mean, no disrespect. I'm gonna go ahead and start off by saying no disrespect because I already know.
Because you know what happens after that. There's a little bit of disrespect that comes out of that. What's up?
I know everybody gonna get on my case, but if Theodore was cooking with the Broncos, Russ better go and start cooking. Russ better be cooking out there. If my boy Theodore was out there cooking last year, he was putting up some numbers, and I'm put my hands up. Theodore was doing his thing for the Broncos last season before he had some issues. I expect Russ to come out and show us something, man. Now he's got a tough division.
My question for you though is, yes, we now the division is tough. That's the first thing first is that's going to be a dogfight. But if you just said what you said about Teddy, and some people look at Teddy as not even a mediocre quarterback. Some people look at him and he's a bum, which is
very
not
true.
The case at all.
Yeah,
which is not the case at all. He's, I think, in the mid range. I would take Teddy over a lot of certain quarterbacks.
Definitely.
But for some people to just, I feel like that. I could be wrong, but I'm speaking of this coming as a wide receiver that's played before. And I watched Russell Wilson since he's played at North Carolina State in college.
Mm-hmm.
Why are so many people just so quick to write him off so far? Is it because of what's happening in Seattle over the last couple of years, which I can understand? But this is also a guy that we saw last year that fucked up his finger, right? Had his finger out here looking like NBA players, right? Fixed that finger throughout the season, was rehabbing with splints on the sideline to make sure that he was able to get back for those last couple of games, which really didn't mean anything. But he came back, couldn't do anything really for the most part because it wasn't properly healed, and just wanted to go out there just to show his mama mentality to let everybody know that, look, I can still play, I'm still here. Serious question, do you think with a new franchise for Russ, a breath of fresh air, a new start, do you think that this can be an opportunity for Russ to not win a Super Bowl in the first year, but to maybe do what Peyton Manning was able to do when he came to Denver?
No. I think that he's gonna elevate that team from the standpoint of the leadership that he's gonna bring and just the mentality that he's gonna bring. I mean, let's not forget this is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So yes, I do expect him to bring something to that team that they didn't have before. However, When Peyton Manning went to the Denver Broncos, that was a different time. I think when you look at that division that he's playing in, and to be honest, those 4 teams are going to beat up on each other like we have not seen before. I think last season we were already talking about, how competitive that division was, were the other 3 teams going to be ready to catch the Chiefs. And then, you have some of the moves that went on this offseason. New wide receivers in that division. Russell Wilson added to that division. Tyreek Hill leaves that division. So there's a whole bunch of movement in that division right now. But honestly speaking, if we're talking about one of the best divisions in the in football in general, the AFC West, they just might be the best division in football. So I don't know that Russ comes to a team that was 7-10 last season and all of a sudden turns them into Super Bowl contenders as Peyton Manning did. I think that he needs to worry about getting out of that division more than anything.
I respect the tape. I do. And of course, as always, we will just wait and see. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see how the division plays out. That's not the only division I'll be looking out for moving forward. I'll say it one time now, and I'll continue to say it throughout the season. The AFC North is going to be a very interesting division, especially depending on how Deshaun Watson suspension plays out. That's another division to be looking at.
That's a great division to be on the lookout. And the dark horse division, the AFC East. We talked about it last week. I mean, the AFC East, let's not sleep on the AFC East.
And don't sleep on the Jets. Don't sleep on the Jets.
No, I might be sleeping on them.
That's fine, but I'm just letting y'all know. It might not be this year. I'm sorry. It's not going to be this year. They're not going to win 9-10 games.
No.
They'll win 5 or 6. And they'll build on this. And
they won 4 last year, so 5 or 6 makes sense.
5 or 6 have an improvement. Yeah. And then they'll build on this and they'll get better. And I'm just saying, the next 2 or 3 years, I don't think the Jets are just going to be pushovers as they used to be.
Okay.
We just saw the Bengals last year go to Super Bowl. Sooner or later, it takes that, not just quarterback, it takes the core. It takes that core of the team to let the inside of the team know that, look, this is different. We have to worry about us, and we have to not care about what happened in the past. We've seen the Jets go to the AFC Championship game with Marcus Sanchez.
I need to see more from Zach. I agree. There's a difference.
I
saw a lot from Joe before they made this Super Bowl run. Okay. I saw what I needed to see from Joe. Okay. I need to see more from Zach.
I agree.
The hype and everything that's been going on with Zach over the summer, and him, hanging out with his mom's best friends and stuff like that. You're going to need to make the right kind of noise, Zach, instead of being worried about, hanging out with your mom's best friend.
You're not wrong on that one. You are correct, sir. But let's go ahead and move on that one. And again, just to reiterate the guys that were showing up in style in camp, we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic. DeAndre Hopkins pulled up in a old school Chevy. You had TJ Uzama from the Jets, as we just talked about, pulled up in a Zach Wilson shirt.
Yeah, I saw the Zach Wilson shirt.
That he got him some. Make sure you get your
pass. He gonna get his targets.
He gonna get his
targets now.
You got to make sure you let the quarterback know. Hey,
that's funny.
I'm open. I'm here. Look out for me. I'll make you look good. Make me look good. That's
he was blatantly trying to get his targets in. So,
and of course, our other AFC South foe from the Tennessee Titans, Mr. Darius, now named Darius Ish. Thought you had it. No. You didn't get it. No. Okay.
No.
Well, Mr. Darius Leonard, of course, he changed his name to his now new name, which is
Darius
Shaquille, which is Shaquille. So instead of calling him Darius Leonard, you'll now call him Shaquille Leonard. So make sure you address Mr. Darius Leonard.
He's going by his middle name now,
or he's going to make sure he punched the ball out of your arm to create another turnover. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the NFC West, and of course, everybody's favorite little toddler, Kyler Murray signs a $230 million extension with the Arizona Cardinals after a lot of hoopla in the offseason, thinking that maybe these two parties would part ways and maybe they didn't care for each other. But, well, it seems as though maybe that was negotiation tactics on both parties to try to get the best deal on each side. That's just how it is. Negotiation is a very dirty deal, especially in professional sport. Not just in professional sport, but in professional settings in general. It's a dirty game. And it seems as though Kyler was able to stand strong and was able to get his money. But it wasn't the money that made people react to this story for the first time in I want to say a long time, because it actually happened a couple weeks ago when it comes to certain clauses in people's contracts. But for the Arizona Cardinals to write up a clause to where Kyler Murray has mandatory film study, a minimum of 4 hours a week, is the hottest topic of the offseason that has everything to do
Crazy.
besides somebody getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And this is so. The word I'm going to use is no slight to Kyler Murray, because I know it's going to sound disrespectful, but it's because it's not matching his stature. But I'm just saying that this is so elementary-ish. This is so juvenile. This is so little league.
And well, it's not necessarily little league.
Hold up, sir. You play Texas football. I play Texas football. Kyler Murray played Texas football. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Kyler Murray was the hottest shit in high school since sliced bread, right? Played college ball at Texas A&M. Finished up at Oklahoma. My point is that boy is a Texas boy through and through. And you telling me that he was able to get away with not watching film, or maybe just watching the bare minimum film, just going out there and just saying, look, I'm just going out athleticism everybody because I'm just that good, because I'm just a bad little toddler. I'm just going to run around everybody 6-7 goddamn times in a row and just sling it. That's what you're going to do? And you think that shit going to work in the NFL? You think that shit going – you telling me you can't study film for 4 hours a week? Well, you think you're going to be Tom Brady? I'm just going to – you got it, because I'm gonna wait for you. I'm gonna wait for you, sir. Because this is, when I heard about this, I would just go, sir.
Yeah, when I heard about this clause in the contract, I thought it was a little funny to me. It reminded me of when you first get to college. For those of you who know anything about playing college football, there's a thing called mandatory study hall, and it's a lot of schools will do it just for freshmen. Some schools will do it the entire team, but mandatory study hall, you got to go in and you have certain hours that you got to go study your schoolwork and everything. So they make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do and you're going to have the right grades in your class and everything. And I kind of felt like the Arizona Cardinals were like, yeah, Kyler, we're going to have to put you in mandatory study hall because since you want to go out and admit that you're not watching film and you're not the kind of guy that's going to spend 24 hours watching film to study the team that we got to play, if we're going to pay you all this money, we need to get some insurance on our investment. So we're going to make sure that you're paying attention. And it's funny to me that even in the clause, it says things like, you know, mandatory film sessions with the team doesn't count towards his 4 hours. So they made sure to put in the caveat like, hey, bro, don't think that when you come into don't think that when you come into the position group meetings that we don't count that for your study time, because we're talking about study time when you go home. So I don't know what conversations was going on in the building, but obviously Kyler ticked some people off when he was talking about how he doesn't study film all the time. And so they made sure to put that in the contract. Be that's what he was arguing with them about, you know, back when he scrubbed his account of all the Arizona stuff. He was trying to, you know, not be forced to have 4 hours a week dedicated to study hall. But this it's funny to me. It's crazy that we're not talking about the money and what he was able to get, because honestly speaking, it was a great job by his team. Deshaun Watson strikes again because he got pretty much a similar deal to Deshaun Watson. The only thing is he got less guaranteed money. But it's a win from Kyler's camp for him to get in the realm of another top quarterback. It's also a win for the Cardinals because I feel like before the Deshaun Watson deal, there was the Patrick Mahomes deal that reset that market, and it was trying to find, what's the best middle ground to get a quarterback in there if you're going to say this is the quarterback of the future for your team. And, this, I think, is a happy middle ground for the team.
Don't forget about another quarterback who's happy about this contract as well. You keep bringing him up every time a quarterback gets a contract.
You talking about Lamar?
You know who I am. Mr. Jackson.
I don't know.
If you're Lamar, I'm not saying Lamar Jackson's supposed to get a $400 million guarantee. I'm just saying that if you're Lamar Jackson, you're looking at this like, okay, well, I mean, if all these other teams are looking at their guys like this, I mean, I know I'm at least getting 44 minimum.
Yeah, it's definitely a good. I mean, no matter what, any contract that's signed at this point in the quarterback market for Lamar Jackson is good on his part, right? Because it's just helping to solidify the numbers, especially if he goes out, he balls out this season. Let's just talk about it. He's an MVP. Kyler Murray is not an MVP. So already you're going into negotiations. You're saying, look, Arizona is paying this guy that has never won an MVP in this league. They're giving this guy an average of 46 million a year. So if on average, his average annual salary is 46 million a year, I should be coming in ahead of that. You definitely got to give me at least 48 if I'm Lamar. And I mean, we know Lamar is representing himself and he's handling those negotiations. So that's a whole nother wrench in the situation because, how are they going to negotiate with Lamar? I don't know. But if I'm Lamar, I'm definitely going in looking at 48 to start the conversation as my annual average salary.
No, you're not wrong. And again, that's somebody I definitely thought about when the contract got dropped. What is Lamar? What will Lamar, number wise say, hey, I demand this, or will Baltimore say, hey, here goes an open check, put what you want on there? And who knows? Is he waiting until after the season's over?
Well,
weird thing about this contract for Lamar is like, are you waiting for the season to start right before it starts? Or are you waiting until after? Like, what are we doing?
So let me ask you about that real quick because I like that you brought up Lamar Jackson, and I want to talk about that situation in Baltimore real quick because we did have another domino fall with Kyler Murray. If Lamar doesn't re-sign with the Baltimore Ravens, before the season's up, what does the market look like for Lamar Jackson? I think that is the piece that we need to really think about, and the piece that he should also be thinking about in these negotiations, because I don't know that he has the kind of market to where we're looking at it and saying, oh, if he hits the open market, well, it's going to be a bidding war, and I don't know that Baltimore is going to, I don't think that they're going to be able to get their guy. I think that they're going to regret that decision because if we're being realistic here, what is his market when a team knows that if you bring Lamar Jackson in, we just talked about last week what he brings to the table and how great he is in all of the ways that he pressures a defense. But when you're a team that understands when you bring this guy in, you have to pretty much change your offense to cater to his skills. What teams out there right now that don't have a quarterback are going to be willing to make that take that chance? Now, I have one team out there that it could be a possibility, but are they going to be willing to do that? And that's his hometown team in Miami. We don't know what Tua is going to do. There's a lot of talk about, the situation going on there.
Let him talk. Let him actually play the season. Man, you already moving him already.
Hey, man, we've seen a lot from Tua. I'm sorry, but I'm skeptical about seeing a vast improvement just because Tyreek Hill is going to Miami.
Can I at least say one thing about the Tua situation in Miami because I was listening earlier this morning on the 4-channel, on the 4-letter network, and I definitely agree on what one commentator said. When it comes to if you are the quarterback and you know that the owner has my back, the GM has my back, the head coach has my back, all the players have my back and support me, there is no other excuses anymore when it comes to, oh, I didn't play well because of whatever. You are supposed to be able to play so freely, knowing going into the season that the backup ain't gonna come take your job. Like you're not getting pulled if you throw in 3 interceptions.
He has what? Theodore's behind him, right?
Yeah, which is a great backup. But again, it's not Theodore's team. This is Tua's team. Everybody knows this is Tua's team.
Everyone knows that.
But the thing about it is, when it comes to what I love about that situation is that you don't see that a lot in the NFL, right? And it's not just in the NFL; it's also in a professional work environment. Imagine you going into your professional job and everybody, I'm not saying it's catering to you, but everybody is supportive of you and just thankful of you being here at this job. That'll make you work a little bit differently, right? You kind of go in a little bit with more of the pep in your step, knowing that I feel validated and I feel like I belong here. And I think if Miami is able to mold that correctly with Tua, it can hopefully turn into something which is at least maybe an AFC Championship game appearance, and you can build on that. But if you're still in the middle of the pack, if you're still 9-8, 8-9, and when the season is over with, it's kind of hard to want to continue if we already know this is your peak. So that's the most interesting thing about Tua and the Dolphins' upcoming season with them.
Well, yeah, and I think this is a big year for Tua. They've backed you. They've shown they back you. They went out and got an offensive coach to support you. They went out and brought in. I mean, realistically, they have probably the fastest offense in the league now, right? They went and brought in all of these speedsters to come add to that offense. And if you're Tua Tagovailoa, like you said, you know the coach is backing you. You know the GM is backing you. The owner is backing you. Like everybody in Miami, as of right now, they have done a great job closing in ranks and saying, hey, guys, you know what? Tua is our guy. Like, I don't want to hear any conversation about, whether or not we were going to go for Deshaun Watson or anything. No, Tua is our guy. We are 100% on Tua. Like, they are behind Tua Tagovailoa. So, like, for you to go out this season and not play, I mean, just completely free. If it looks bad, I'm sorry. If it even looks average, I'm sorry. They're going to have to look at it and reconsider at the end of the season or whether or not they need to move on. And that's where, for me, if this Lamar Jackson situation kind of goes left over there, there's a real discussion that's going to have to be had about, maybe Lamar comes to Miami and plays for Miami. Or Teddy is there. Like we said, Theodore, he's from Miami. He's a guy that, honestly speaking, he was supposed to be a franchise quarterback for Minnesota until the whole knee injury happened, right? And it's really unfortunate that since then it just doesn't seem like things have really lined up for him to give him that opportunity. Maybe he gets another opportunity there in Miami. I don't know. You got to think he's going to get some opportunities this season at some point, because Tua really just never really makes it.
We don't know.
He never really make it.
One thing we know about in the NFL so far this upcoming season is that we know that the Cardinals and Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury will fall off a cliff.
Yo, chill out, man.
So
not too much on my boy Cliff, man. Not too much on my man Cliff. Cliff and Kyler. Hey, with Kyler being when Kyler being forced to watch film now.
Oh,
maybe they don't have that slump.
Maybe they just go 3-7 instead of 2-8, right?
I mean, that's an improvement, right?
Hey, you're correct.
All right.
Only way to go from down is up. All right, let's go ahead and move on to another team in the NFC West. Mr. Trey Lance is now QB1 for the San Francisco 49ers. And that is coming from Mr. John Lynch and also, of course, head coach uh, Mr. Kyle Shanahan. And for this to come out and for to come out so abruptly, for everybody to just put it on Front Street and say, "Hey, this is where we're going. We're trading Jimmy G." I think first thing first is you got to respect. First thing, on a serious note, you got to respect John Lynch and what he's been doing in San Francisco as a general manager, and also for Kyle Shanahan to be able to make a name for himself and not have to ride off of his daddy coattails, because a lot of people out here, no matter if you're a coach or a player or even an owner, sometimes be riding off their parents' coattails and what they did in the past. And for Kyle Shanahan, he's definitely writing his own chapter as a coach. And one thing I hear all the time from players is them saying that they just want honesty. They just want truthfulness from the coach in the front office. If you're going to trade me, trade me. If you're going to keep me on the squad, let me know so I can be able to then plan out what I need to do with myself and my family and other things like that moving forward. So I'm pretty sure that, of course, they had the conversation with Trey and Jimmy. I don't know if it was together, but I know they had this conversation letting both parties know that, hey, we're trading Jimmy. Trey, this is your team now. And it's respectable when it comes to letting Jimmy try to figure out, what team that he might want to be able to go to. And also letting Trey know, and also the rest of the team for the San Francisco 49ers know that, hey, this is the guy that's going to be um, carrying the torch now. And on the offensive side, we need you guys to help him come along. On the defensive side, we need you guys to show him real NFL type looks in first teams, and also and even in second teams as well. And also when it comes to defense, we need you to help him out as well, bring him along and help guide him to become a successful quarterback, because it takes the whole team. When you're a young quarterback like this, it's hard to bring along grown men. So for Trey Lance, he's going to have to figure a lot of this shit out on the fly this upcoming season. But the best thing for him is that he plays on a team with a lot of veteran experience. And that's what I think is going to help tremendously for Trey Lance. But I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to take some heat for this, but I think the San Francisco 49ers take a step back going from Jimmy G to Trey Lance in the first year. Years after this, they can win Super Bowls. They can maybe win multiple. Who knows? But the first year is going to be a learning curve. Is going to be something that everybody is going to have to learn from this upcoming season. I just think they take a step back. They regroup and they make a run for it next season. And the next season in the NFC West is going to be crazy. But right now, I don't see the 49ers contending. They're going to make the playoffs, but I don't see them making the NFC Championship game due to Trey Lance being at the helm.
So you say that they're going to take a step back. They'll make playoffs. They won't make the AFC Championship game. I don't know. I don't know that they make playoffs, to be honest. I like this team. I like this team a lot. I like the way that they fight. I like the way that, like you said, John Lynch has done an amazing job as GM. Kyle Shanahan has definitely come in. He's done a great job. He's done all the right things so far. The writing was on the wall, right? Last year going into camp, there was a lot of rumbling about whether or not Jimmy G was the guy, whether he was going to be the guy. Were they going to let Trey Lance start? Did they need to turn the team over to Trey Lance? And, miraculously, Jimmy G kept his job and only led them to the conference championship game. Now, after that conference championship game, I believe I did come on the show and I said, yeah, Jimmy G got to go, because Jimmy G played a horrendous conference championship game, if we're just being honest. And at that point, for me, I was pretty much done with it. I was like, Jimmy G, you've had the opportunities to be that guy, that heir apparent to Tom Brady that everybody thought you were going to be, only for you to come up short and not really prove it when the time was there for you. So I didn't want them to move on from Jimmy G because I still think that he gives them the best opportunity to possibly return to a Super Bowl. But I do think that now is the time to do it. You drafted Trey Lance where you did. You have to play him at this point. He sat 1 year. I think he's going to come in. He's going to do okay. He's going to be a good quarterback. I don't know this first year he'll be great, but I think he'll be good. I think based on their division and just some of the things that they have going on in San Francisco, looking at their schedule, I don't know. I don't know if they make playoffs. I think it's gonna be rough trying to get through that division and some of the non-division games that you have to play. They play the Chiefs at home. They got the Panthers on the road, the Broncos on the road. I mean, you're looking at some of these games, and they've got Miami at home, which that's not an easy game. The Buccaneers at home. They got some rough games out of that division that they're going to have to find a way to get through in order to, get one of these wild card spots. And with Trey at the helm, I just don't know if they'll be ready. Not to mention they lost their offensive coordinator. They lost some pieces on the offensive side as well. Debo Samuel's not happy. He's still not happy. We don't know what's going on there.
We all know Debo coming back.
That situation. I mean, hey, there's a lot in the air in San Francisco at the moment, and that sort of distraction never really bodes well for a team. So we'll have to see how they handle that. I know that Kyle Shanahan normally has them ready to go. The only good thing I can say for them is they start off against the Bears, which that's a good game.
It's a good warm-up game.
Yeah. Then you got Seattle at home, which – Seattle's definitely rebuilding at this time. And then you go on the road to Denver. And it's like, okay, I'd rather go on the road to Denver week 3 after those first 2 games than, face a different Denver team, week 1. So we'll see how he does in those first 2 games. I think that'll really set the tone for the season, because if he comes out and he has a stinker against Chicago, it might be a long season in San Francisco.
Not a stinker. To be honest with you, now that you bring up week 1, it might be a game. I'm gonna call it right now. This is in July, but I'm gonna call it right now. It might be a game you might want to look out for in week 1 when it comes to upset alert. For some reason, I think I don't know. That sounds like a game where San Francisco was supposed to walk into Chicago and just win that game and come back home to San Fran and just keep moving. But nobody expects the Bears to win that game except for the Bears, right? And when you give a team that type of motivation, it makes them a little dangerous, especially again an NFL team. We got to all remember that just because you're a trash NFL team, you still have NFL type players. So any given Sunday, things can happen. Hey, if the Detroit Lions can win a couple of games last season, it's possible. So I'm gonna look out for that game week 1 when it comes season, because that's an interesting one. But before we move on, I want to let everybody know I am getting messages regarding the comments not showing up on YouTube. I appreciate that. For some reason, comments are just not coming up. So that's something we will look into after the show's over with. And we will make sure that does not happen again moving forward, because, of course, as always, we love collaborating with y'all. And unfortunately, the comments are just not coming through.
They're just not coming through.
If you do want to comment, of course, on Facebook or Twitter, please make sure you comment so we can chat back with y'all. Other than that, let's go ahead and finish up for tonight. Like I said, we'll get that situated for next week. But let's get to the unfortunate injury report so far of the training camp season. And I know I didn't talk to Ish about this in the pre-show, but I wanted to bring this up because it's happened right here in our own backyard. Unfortunately, Texans rookie John Michie III recently was diagnosed with leukemia. The type of leukemia he has, thanks to my beautiful wife for putting me on when letting me know the information regarding this leukemia, because she works for a cancer center, so she knows her little stuff. But this is the smallest form of leukemia, to where all he has to do is consistently take a pill that will pretty much handle the cancer cells in his body to where the leukemia should fade away. So he is taking a year off. It's unfortunate because, in all due, let's be real ish. We make fun of the Texans. We joke about the Texans and other teams here on the show, but reality, football is just a game, and life is for real. And definitely wish John Michie a speedy recovery because the Texans weren't going to be that good this year, anyways, right? So it's not like you're really missing out on anything, John. Let's get your life back right and let's get your body back right. The Texans ain't going nowhere. They need you, so it's not like they're gonna let you go. Like take care of yourself first, and then we hope to definitely see you back on the field because that's a very tough situation to be in. Ish.
Yeah, I mean, when the news came out, I just felt so bad because football aside, it just seems like this guy has not been able to catch a break. He got hurt, had been, recovering, rehabbing, and then only to get this diagnosis now. But like you said, it seems to be a form of leukemia that is treatable, and he should make a full recovery. And at this point, that's all we're praying for is for him to make that full recovery. The football aspect that comes at a whole nother thing. Who cares? Sit out this season, and just do what you need to do to be healthy, and then we can worry about the football stuff, next year. So we're just hoping that he recovers, everything goes well for him, and then next year we'll talk about him coming in and making an impact for this Houston team. But yeah, man, it was really unfortunate to get this news.
I know nobody wants to hear about a silver lining, and especially in a situation like this. But the silver lining in the story is that at least he's in a city that has one of the best healthcare
Yeah,
programs
it's the
in the
best.
United
Yeah,
States,
best
and
cancer
number one in cancer,
facility.
yes, exactly,
Yeah,
cancer facility in not just the United States, but I also think the world.
yeah.
So he's in the best city to be able to get his treatment taken care of, and it's not just, of course, John Minchie that's been able to go through these cancer treatments. Of course, Ernie Johnson from TNT and other athletes or celebrities have come through Houston to get treated. So, again, just wishing him the best, and hopefully he can make a full recovery, and we'll see him on the field shortly. All right, let's go ahead and move on to also another individual, Mr. Chris Carson. Unfortunately, he will be leaving the game sooner than expected. He will be retiring at 27 due to his neck injury that he sustained. He missed all of last year due to the neck injury, and it seems as though after a further diagnostics of his neck area, he decided to call it quits. And I'm not saying it in a bad way, calling it quits, but this is one of those situations where I feel like you as a individual of a player slash person, you have to look at the long term of everything that you do. And this is one of those situations where, as great as a running back that he is, because I think Chris Carson on a good day, he can tote the ball for at least 150, 200 yards, a couple touchdowns. So for Seattle to lose a weapon like him and also a person like him, it's very unfortunate. But to be able to walk away from the game, I think that's something that everybody wants to be able to do and not have to, have a unfortunate injury to where you're not able to do that.
Yeah, this is another one of those ones where it was like, man, it's so tough hearing this guy. He grinds every year. He fights, works hard, and only for this to happen. But you got to look at it like you said from a long term perspective. This is probably what's best for him as far as life quality of life, right? Being able to do the things that he loves to do, being able to spend time with your family and stuff. You got to take that into consideration when you're going through this grind and this training and playing this sport. And definitely, I think he had to make a tough decision. But one of the bright spots of this whole thing is he got released by the Seahawks with a failed physical designation or something like that. But the reason why they did that was so that he is eligible for this insurance money and payment and stuff like that through the league. So that was really good from them because they're looking out for him in that standpoint so that he's able to, at least make some of what he was supposed to make, in the league. So that's one bright spot there. But, at the end of the day, it's a quality of life situation, and we've seen it more and more. And we talked to plenty of guys that they've just I think more and more players are starting to realize, what do I want as far as when it's all said and done, how do I want to walk away from this game? And more players are deciding I'd rather walk away from this game than to limp away from this game or not even being able to walk away from this game, right? So definitely, wish him all the best in the future.
Yes, sir. And I'll just wrap it up with we just saw Gronk for the second time. Went ahead and said he's going to retire, which we'll see, of course, if that is the last time or if he'll, come back one more round. But yeah, this is a game where you can one play can change everything. So I'll leave it at that. Let's go ahead and move on. We got a couple more topics before tonight's over with, and I'll talk about a signing that was not talked about that much, but needs to be talked about because Miami Dolphins signed veteran wide receiver Mohamed Sanu. Again, I know it's not a sexy. Again, there you go. I know it's not a sexy thing to talk about, but I think that's a very interesting signing to be able to have another wide receiver in the stable. A guy like Mohamed Sanu allows you as well to have maybe some trick plays, maybe some quarterback wide receiver throwbacks, throw it to Tyreek Hill on a 60-yard bomb or whatnot. A little trickeration going on in Miami. But overall, I think this is a very solid signing. I love me some Mohamed Sanu. Very solid wide receiver. First of all, I feel like Mohamed Sanu is somewhere in your family lineage. Why are you disrespecting your black brother?
Yeah, let me just say that this news is Sun news because nobody cares that he signed for Miami.
All right. If the comments were working, I would love to hear the comments to let us know if people actually care or not. But since you're a hater, I'm going to go ahead and move on because he's going to get his 30 catches and 2 touchdowns this upcoming season. Okay, don't be disrespectful.
Wow, you hope he gets that.
You're right. I'm hoping because again, it's all on Tua. All right, let's go ahead and actually get to the Florida team that people actually care about. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers makes the biggest splash signing for wide receivers. One of the biggest splash besides Tyreek Hill, but Julio Jones signs with Brady and the Bucks. And the reason why I say Brady and the Bucks because let's be real, it's Tom Brady's team, and
he signed with Brady. Yeah,
everybody else just there. So with that being said, did Tom Brady do it again when it comes to being able to work his swag and his just silky smooth voice into Julio Jones' ear to persuade him to Tampa Bay?
Did Tom Brady do it again? Yeah, sure. I guess Tom Brady did it again. But to be honest, I don't know that he's going to be as happy with this one as he was with some of the other ones that he had in the past because this man, as we have seen the past couple of years, he cannot stay healthy at all. So how many games does Julio Jones play for the Bucks? That should be a good betting line.
That's the betting line right there. 5.5. 5.5. And I will take the under.
I'm probably taking the under on any betting line that goes on for how many games Julio Jones is going to play with the Bucks because the past couple of years have not been good to Julio Jones. He has not been able to make it through an entire season, let alone shoot half a season. And even when he is out there, it rarely seems like he's 100%. So what type of player are the Bucks getting? What version of Julio Jones are the Bucks getting? And maybe this is a good situation from the standpoint of he's not going to have the pressure that he had in other areas because he does have Mike Evans there. He does have Chris Godwin there. They've got a couple others, Scotty Miller. They got a couple guys there that can, make some plays. So he'll get opportunities here and there, but they're not, counting on him to carry the load. So maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll turn out. Maybe he'll be able to make it the full season because of that. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm not too hyped about this because I feel like this is one of those signings where it's a big name guy at the tail end of his career that he's not going to have the level of impact that you think. This is not that Randy Moss situation that everybody likes to think when they see these big guys go sign somewhere else, or especially with Brady, they're like, oh man, he's going to have another year with Randy Moss. And it's no, that was a very special, very unique, Randy Moss is a totally different athlete. And you can't, some of these guys, that's just not their game. Julio Jones, that's not his game. I'm sorry to say. His game is running across the middle, making those, in-cutting routes and doing some of these other things, using his body. And Father Time is undefeated.
Well, except for Tom Brady.
Right. Father Time is undefeated. Tom Brady, he got his time. He got his time coming.
Everything that you said is everything that I already reiterated earlier today. Of course, I had everybody and their mama tagging me when it comes to Julio Jones going to the Bucks, which I don't understand why. Because to be honest with all y'all, I'm about done with this whole situation with Julio Jones being a Titan for a week and a half because that's how many games that he fucking played. Don't get me wrong, he made a couple of good catches. He did his stuff dizzle, but for what he was getting paid and the production that he laid out was piss poor. Julio Jones is a Hall of Famer. Julio Jones is probably the best receiver of the decade of that 2010. I would respect Julio Jones, for everything that he was able to do in Atlanta, but Tennessee wasn't too great. Wasn't too great to him. And I don't know if it was because of the weather. I don't know because of Ryan Tannehill. I don't know because of the system. I don't know if because of whatever it was, just didn't work out. Now who knows? Maybe joining Brady in the Bucks might allow you to get a little young, rejuvenating type of elixir out there, and you're gonna be good to go. Or if we're just gonna see more of the same when it comes to you just can't stay healthy, and it's not because of you. It's mainly because of your hamstring. Your hamstring just giving up on you right now. So if that's the case, I don't know if this warm weather is going to be a good thing for you because, people say all the time, when it's cold, your hamstrings is that. To be honest with y'all, when it's warm outside, that's really when your hamstrings start.
Yeah, it's really when you start feeling it.
So that's what I'm trying to see if this is going to work or not. And again, it's not about fit. Can he fit on the team? He's gonna find his way on to be able to be the third option. He'll be the third option pretty much.
Yeah, he'll get a good chance.
Is he going to actually be healthy and not be on the sideline playing with the tear gun and playing with the the foam rollers, trying to loosen up your hamstrings? That's the $1 million question. So this signing was I look at this signing more for the name than it is the actual impact that was made on the field. You'll say, "Oh, it's Tom Brady. It's not fair. How you get Julio Jones?" This ain't Julio Jones. This is Karl Malone and Gary Payton joined the Lakers in 2003. This is what this is. Relax, everybody. Even if you make the NFC Championship game, they ain't gonna be the ones that's gonna win it for them. It ain't gonna be Julio Jones. I'm sorry. It ain't. Again, it might be a player or two where he's wide the fuck open because everybody else is covered. Other than that, it ain't gonna be Julio Jones catching 3 touchdowns for 230 yards anymore. It's not going to happen. But overall, decent shot signing for Brady and the Bucks. Ish, you have anything else before we wrap it up for the night?
No.
Oh, that was very short and sweet. I had to go on my little tirade right quick because I just didn't understand why everybody was just going so buck wild and crazy and upset about Julio Jones joining the Bucks. I mean, again, look, y'all got to understand, there are so many great players in the league still, and they're going to continue to be in the league still. to where it's going to seem and look like teams are like being super teams, and it's not just in the NFL, it's also in the NBA as well. But in reality, we just have a lot of better players than we have in past, to where that back end of the roster is still going to be filled with Pro Bowlers. And all pros. There's usually, again, the back end, sometimes Pro Bowlers because of guys trying to chase rings. But just imagine an all pro guy. Just imagine when Aaron Donald gets done with the Rams and he's saying, like, I want to go play for the Bengals for 2 years, right? That's like, what the fuck? Aaron Donald's coming to be the 35th or the 40th guy on the team. Like, all right, hell yeah, come bring. That's what's going to happen in the next 10 to 15 years. There's going to be some hell of a players that's going to be joining teams that you would think they're stacking teams, but in reality, it's just that many damn good players in the league. All righty then. With that being said, my apologies for rumbling and rambling. I just had to lay that out there because it's just real deal Holyfield when it comes to these players. It's crazy out here. All right, with that being said, we will see y'all next week on X Talking Ish. Of course, check us out on the podcast. We are almost this close to 3,500 streams on our podcast. So please make sure you check out the podcast and tune in next week as we talk about whatever else random wacky things that happen in the NFL. So that being said, we'll see y'all next week, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Central, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you.